This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place. Welcome to this week's episode of This is a Place podcast. My name is Nate, and with me is a guy who recently returned from Florida and was able to figure out the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. Brandon.
The difference is you will see one later and one you'll see in a while.
And one likes to rock.
One likes to rock?
Yeah, the crocodile rock. Isn't that a song?
I don't know, maybe.
Isn't that an Elton John song? Yeah, Crocodile Rock by Elton John, who just retired, right? Like 2 days ago.
He did?
On Sunday night. Yeah, he did.
I saw some Disney Plus thing.
Yeah, he broadcasted it live on Disney Plus from Dodger Stadium. And I kept trying to watch it. I'm like, this would be interesting to watch for a little bit. But it kept knocking me off. Like every time I got on, it knocked me off like 2 minutes later. So I said, I give up. And then we turned on Disenchanted. Oh, I fell asleep.
You didn't like it, huh?
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah. And then my wife fell asleep too. So she tried finishing up last night. So I think I kind of understood what happened, but
you saw the first movie, right?
Yeah. The first movie is really good, in my opinion. I like the first one.
Movie.
But this one was like way too much singing. Like they doubled the songs, in my opinion.
There was a lot of songs, yeah.
So what do they call it? There's a difference between what do they call it when it's not an opera, but it's the same idea where you kind of sing the play. Like isn't Les Miserables, isn't that kind of one of those where they sing everything they're doing?
I don't know the name for that, actually.
There's a name for it. It's not musical, because musical is like High School Musical, right? Where they just break out the song every once in a while.
Right.
But yeah, I think there's a name for it. My wife would probably know.
A rock opera?
Maybe.
Kind of similar to Phantom of the Opera. Well, that one is, I don't know if I'd really call Phantom of the Opera an opera. Not really an opera, but it's kind of the same. They sing the whole movie. And Hamilton probably fall into the same category.
Yeah. So it's not like a musical where they're basically singing the lines rather than a subject. Anyways, there was just a lot of singing in Disenchanted.
There's probably a name for it. We don't know it.
And they kind of make fun of it too, right? Like there's always singing in whatever land she's from. They sing everything. Have you watched Spirited yet? That
one I have not.
Yeah, that one they sing a lot too.
You like that one though? It was pretty good.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a Christmas classic.
It's not like Elf.
Yeah, that Elf is gonna be. That's probably the most recent Christmas classic, right, to be made, and that's been a while. It's true.
What about Christmas Story? Have you seen the new Christmas Story?
I haven't seen that one, no, because I got rid of HBO Max. Need to re-sign up.
I'm curious to see how that one is. I know I've heard a lot of good things about it so far.
The Christmas Story one?
Yeah.
Didn't they? Maybe it was a musical. I feel like they already tried doing a Christmas Story too.
Well, they did have, I think they've released 2 sequels. One of them was Ralphie's All Grown Up. And I tried to watch it and it was horrible. And people don't consider it any kind of canon. It has none of the original people. It's just bad.
But I do want to see that one though, the new Christmas Story. Since Ralphie's back. I think I mentioned last episode, wasn't there something like 185 Christmas movies out this year?
Yeah, and it seems like there's so many that I'm seeing.
Even Freddie Prinze, is that his name? Junior? He's making his comeback on a Christmas movie. Talked about last week, Lindsay Lohan. Operetta? Is that what it's called? An operetta, yeah. So it's not like an opera, but where they sing.
Deadly Night.
Oh, I'm excited for that one. Like they've been showing previews in that in the theater for the last month or two. And it's like from the trailers, it feels like they understand what they're doing. Like they're, you know what I mean? Like some movies where they just get what they're doing and they know it's nonsense, but they just go with it.
Right.
So that one looks like it'll be a lot of fun.
And it's the same people that did that Nobody, which I really enjoyed.
Nobody?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with Better Call Saul.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that one. My questions for that movie is Santa Claus is magical and should be a powerful being. How come he can't just kick their butts in 2 seconds?
Because that would make a very good movie, Nate.
It's true. And what's going to happen to all the other gifts that he's supposed to be delivering that night, since he seems to be spending quite a bit of time fighting these guys. Nonetheless, I am there. I'm going to watch that opening weekend. And I believe the Regal Theater, every year they'll show kind of classic holiday movies throughout December, end of November and December. And I think they're showing the Christmas Vacation this Saturday. I have to go check that one out.
You gonna go see it?
I'm gonna try to. It's on my calendar. Doesn't always mean I remember. Can I tell you like how mad I was Saturday and why I was mad?
Yes, please.
I totally forgot about the Gardner Village sale.
I did too, man.
I had it on my freaking calendar and I thought about it all week long. And then Saturday was just such a busy day that when I got home that night, and I think I remembered like a half hour after it ended. And I was so mad. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I waited all week for this.
Dude, same. I had a calendar and everything. I had to be a part of a region dance.
Oh, fun.
And I saw it. I was like, I got to remember to do that. And then it came and went and it was too late. I was like, gosh, dang it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get that gift card.
I needed my $10 savings.
Hopefully some of the people we advertised it for were able to capitalize on it.
Yes, hopefully somebody took advantage of it. Normally places will do like a sale like multiple times during December. I kind of hope that maybe they'll do another sale like that, but time will tell. I was just like,
maybe they'll do some
it's not
Black
that
Friday
big a deal.
thing, you know?
Huh? What's
maybe
that?
Maybe they'll do something for Black Friday.
Maybe. I'm hoping. They haven't advertised anything about it, but I was just like so mad at myself. It's dumb to be mad because it's only like $10, but
that price isn't cheap, so it'd be nice to have
yeah.
You could probably buy two of them.
Well, my wife has her like buy one get one free birthday coupon, and then I'll have mine in another month. So I'm like, this would be great. We'll get a good deal on Archibald's, but oh well. I'll have to spend the extra $10. Just go play my guitar on the street corner and beg for money.
Well, I should get out of the way. If you hear some extra back noises in this episode, we do have a guest.
Yes.
And his name is my son. So he's making his second podcast debut, actually. It's not the first time I've been holding him while doing a podcast.
Yeah. He's already shook his head no at me 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
But speaking of my kids, we decided to take our kids on a vacation. And this was our first vacation, the 4 of us together. Because when we went to Disneyland back in May, we just took my daughter and the baby stayed home. But he did come with us on this most recent trip. And so we thought, why not talk about a little bit about my trip? You haven't heard about it yet, so I got to tell you about it.
I've been on pins and needles. Wanted to hear the whole story.
Tell you about that, and we also thought, hey, it's a good enough time for part 2 of our airport episode, since Alex Cabrera went and did a report on the Salt Lake Airport.
Which I find interesting because we've been talking about doing this episode for a few weeks. I bet you Channel 5 somehow has access to our spreadsheet of ideas we're going to do for upcoming episodes.
And our minds. They have access to our minds too.
Something's going on.
KSL can see into our souls.
I swear we either just talked about a subject and it comes up on the news or a location, or we have it in the works and they do a story before we do. Coincidence? How many times did it stop being a coincidence? That's my question.
So yeah, we just got back and we went on a cruise. Went out of Fort Lauderdale. So it was my first time going to Florida and first time doing a cruise.
Well, what did you think? We'll start with Florida.
Maybe I should start at the airport since that's where our Utah tie-in begins.
And the adventure begins and ends.
It was my second time going to the Salt Lake Airport. I'll tell you what, it was a little bit of a different experience with two kids.
Oh, yeah. Did you have a stroller?
We did get to take a stroller. So I did some research before that they'll let you check the stroller for free, which is nice. So we pushed my daughter in the stroller, and then my wife just put him on her, strapped him to her belly or whatever. And he was pretty good. They're both pretty good, but I'm super cheap. You know me. So I did not want to check any bags. I want to save all the money that I could. So I had to take 3 bags, and my wife pushed the stroller. So that was interesting, but I found a system and we got all the bags to where they need to be. But yeah, the first time I went to the airport, I mean, the walk was a nice brisk walk. Got my steps in. It is harder and much longer with all that luggage and with kids in tow as well, I will say. And it was B gate, which, the dreaded B gates. We were on United and had to walk pretty far. Not like the end of the B gates, but it was pretty close to the front. But it was a trek for sure. We were going on the moving sidewalks that they have along that corridor. And my daughter thought it was awesome, but she also decided to stop in the middle of one of them with people behind us. And those people were in a hurry and they were not happy with a toddler stopping in the middle of the sidewalk. So they got pretty frustrated. But we made it to the gate, got there, and guess what they did with my bags? They checked them for free. So I just had to get them there and then still didn't have to deal with them until we got to our final destination. We got a little interrupted by, as you can hear, our guest for the day is making a lot of noise.
I think you were saying that they checked your luggage.
Yeah, so they checked our luggage, which made it really easy to travel.
No, you're saying they both traveled really well, and I asked you if they had personal TVs for you to watch.
Oh, right. Yes, they do. So on our first 3 flights over the whole trip, our first 3 planes, we had the TVs on the back of the seat. Our last plane home didn't have TVs. They recommended you download the app on your...
You didn't do a direct flight?
No, we didn't do direct flights. On our way there, we had to stop in Houston. And it was a pretty quick layover, maybe like an hour, so it was kind of quick moving. We had to move quick. And then our way home, we had to stop in Newark. So yeah, they did really well.
That's good.
They just don't behave at home.
That's right. Yeah, I remember. Well, as you know, my wife is now technically retired from JetBlue. So we've always been able to fly for free. But we didn't fly very often when the kids were really young because of the hassle. And we were always worried Well, our worry was when you fly standby, you may or may not be seated together. So we're always worried that one of our kids would be put near somebody and they just couldn't handle it, or they'd have a meltdown. So, but they travel really well now. Of course, they're older, but even with your comment of how different it is going to the Salt Lake City airport by yourself, it doesn't seem that bad. But when you're, even with my kids being older and just having to go to the airport in a group, it was a lot more difficult the first time we were there than it was my second time when I was all by myself. So the second time, I'm like, oh, this ain't so bad.
Right.
But I think you nailed it on the head by like, oh yeah, when you have kids and stuff with you that you're trying to pay attention to and make sure they get to where they need to be going, it's a little different. I can only imagine what it would be like having really young kids, like you mentioned. Stroller would be nice because then you control that, but it's still a little bit of a pain.
But if they want to get out of the stroller and walk on the moving sidewalk, you know, it does add some more difficulty to it. I would kind of scoff at the people that complain about our long walk at the airport, but I get it with kids. I get it with more than just yourself. That's a little bit more work.
So I find it ironic, we talked about it a little bit earlier, that we've been planning to do this episode ever since you got home. Like Brendan and I talk quite often outside of the podcast, right?
Yeah, we like each other outside of our little business we have here.
Yeah. Anyways, so I haven't been able to ask him any questions about his trip and cruise, a cruise that I've been on before. So I've been dying to ask him questions. But anyways, so the whole point of the story is we had this idea first, Alex. Apparently he did the research for us on how far it is to walk. So we're going to listen to his reporting on the Salt Lake City Airport and how far away it is from getting out of your car to your gate, basically.
Welcome back. We are looking live at Salt Lake International Airport tonight as flight crews prepare for a busy week carting travelers to their holiday destinations. Many of us traveling will get a good hike in before seeing loved ones, especially if our plane is parked at one of those B gates.
Oh, yes. Right? We hear all the time about how long that walk is, but how do we compare to other airports? We sent our Alex Cabrero to several of them to put our walk to the test.
Doors will be closing in the next 5 minutes and will not reopen.
You've probably heard the stories of how big and modern the new Salt Lake City International Airport is, but you've most likely also heard about the dreaded B gates. Not so much the gates themselves, but that big yellow sign indicating where your unofficial hike is about to begin.
Big walk.
It's a very long walk, especially as old as I am and such.
It's a long walk. It is a long walk.
Some call this long tunnel between the A and B gates the Pioneer Trek, simulating the 1840s pioneers who crossed the plains to get to Utah. There's even wildlife along the way. No matter what you call it,
It's a bigger place, for sure.
Bill Wyatt has heard them all.
I've been to every major airport in the world. This is nothing.
Wyatt is the director of the Salt Lake Airport. He's proud of all the awards the new airport has won, but he also knows that walk is what people always talk about. For example, the airport will post a new business opening like this vitamin shop, and the comments are mostly, after the hike to Terminal B, you better offer oxygen. Or how about this? We're all too exhausted from pushing a wheelchair 47 miles to our gate.
People have strong opinions about airports, particularly hometowners, right?
It may feel like 47 miles, but really, how long is it? We decided to do the trek. Turns out the walk to the furthest B gate is 3,350 feet, about 0.64 miles, and the tunnel itself is 1,200 feet, about a quarter mile.
70, 71, 72.
There is no doubt distances can be hard on the elderly and less mobile, and while Salt Lake does provide carts within the tunnel for those who need it, it's not like we're the only airport with a long walk. So I decided to head out of town to do some fact-checking of my own. First stop, our mountain time zone buddy, Denver. Airport told us that from curb to the furthest terminal, which is C67 here, is 8,040 feet. That is nearly a mile and a half, but it does include the use of moving walkways, escalators, and trains. We also visited Minneapolis, which, like Salt Lake, is a Delta hub. Recently, the Wall Street Journal did an extensive report on airports. One metric was maximum walking distance, and at the time, Minneapolis was number one at 0.83 miles, followed by Vegas, Charlotte, Miami, JFK, and then at number 6, Salt Lake, again at 0.64 miles, followed by Washington Dulles, then Phoenix. At Phoenix's Sky Harbor Airport, the longest walk from the curb to the furthest terminal is 0.61 miles. However, you could walk more if you wanted to, about a mile, because Phoenix has something called the Sky Harbor Fitness Trail.
We want to highlight everything that Phoenix has to offer. And this is just what Phoenix has to offer that you can see from the airport terminal windows.
The trail features several markers where you read a sign and then look out the window to see it, such as the Butte at Papago Park, Paestoa Peak, and even the Phoenix skyline. It's a way to break up your time or provide a walk for a long layover.
AB15 for an on-time departure.
Perhaps that's something Salt Lake could do. However, in 2 years, our 0.64 mile longest walk will be reduced to a quarter mile once the central tunnel is built near security. It'll take you straight to the B gates.
And I think that'll make a real substantial difference.
The central tunnel couldn't be built first because it would have cut through the old airport while it was still operating. It will have moving walkways and eventually a train.
We're a big city now.
Until then, though, we have to do that walk. Recently, the airport put new signs in the current tunnel saying things like doctors recommend 10,000 steps a day or just looking out for your health. It's a way to try and keep things light, knowing there is a lot of criticism.
I don't take it personally at all. I understand it. The current configuration isn't optimal, but it's also not permanent.
In only 2 years, our longest walk won't feel so pioneerish. So really, is Salt Lake City, do we have a long walk? And honestly, that comes down to your personal feeling. If you feel like it's long, then it is. If you feel like it's not long, then it's not. And neither side is wrong. However, I was looking at some of the other airports that are longer than Salt Lake's walk, looking at their Facebook comments, and none of them get near the scrutiny that Salt Lake City International Airport does. Now, that could be because a lot of us miss the old airport. This new airport certainly isn't as intimate as the old airport. But in a couple of years, once everything is completed with construction, perhaps that will change. So Mike and Ashley, maybe we'll have to come back in a few years and do an update.
Hey, Alex, I'll tell you one thing I don't miss is the old airport. Okay, I'm not on that list. I do not miss the old airport.
Yeah, we'll take it.
You're not wrong. It's personal feelings.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Great story, Alex. Appreciate it.
But that is interesting that they're going to be putting that new tunnel in. So instead of 5 miles, it only takes it down to 2.
But like you said, you get lots of steps. You're going to be on a plane. You're not going to be walking around. It's a great way for you to get some exercise, fill some of those rings before you hop on the plane.
It reminds me of how much we complain about traffic here in Utah, or just our commute, right? Like, I got to drive 20 minutes to work. Like, I remember when Saratoga Springs was kind of getting up and running, a lot of people from like California, from out of state were like, holy, because it was cheap out there. Nobody wanted to live out there because it was so far away, and
Right.
their commute. So a lot of these people from like California, stuff like that. You mean like it only takes me 45 minutes to get downtown? Like, heck yes, I'll have a bigger house. Like, that's nothing compared to what we're used to in California. So I think you're right. We just like to complain about stuff that really doesn't matter in the end. It's what we do. It's what we do.
But I will say, the Salt Lake Airport, I went to 3 other airports on my trip. Houston, I think it's Bush International, something like that. The Fort Lauderdale Airport and Newark International Airport. Ours is much nicer than all of them. Probably because it's newer.
I do like the new airport, how they're making it easier to like have a layover there with all the restaurants and places to hang out.
Cafe Rio's open much later than it is outside of the airport.
So on the way to San Diego about a month ago, when I was out by myself, I was like starving, and I got there a little bit early, had still like an hour before my flight. But it was pretty cool just to be able to pull up my Cafe Rio app because the line was huge, right? So I just pulled up the app, ordered my food, and said, "I'm here," and then they bring it out to you. So I was like, "This is pretty sweet, pretty sweet." Otherwise, I probably would have. I can't. I'm not good at standing in lines, but I thought that was pretty cool. But I just noticed all like the little restaurants they have and bars and whatnot. You can kind of chill and relax and enjoy your time until it's time to take off. But the problem is that if you're eating Cafe Rio, right, and you're in Gate B, and you spend too much time waiting in line, you might have to run a mile to get to your gate in time. So it depends on how fast you run the mile for how quickly you need to eat.
Yeah.
So I didn't chance it. I took mine to go and then went and ate at the gate just to make sure.
That's a safe bet.
Just to make sure. Didn't want to run on a full stomach. Well, I want to hear, since we knocked out the airport subject, how this was your first cruise, right?
It was.
What is it Norwegian?
We did Royal Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean. Are they the ones that have Johnny Rockets on the ship?
They are.
Yeah. Is it still like $5 or did you even do that?
I have no idea.
Oh, you didn't go in there?
No. And I'll get, well, I heard, so I bought the drink card, the mixed drink card, since I love drinking alcohol so much. It's my favorite.
But you only drink on cruises.
Well, yeah, because when you're on the water, it doesn't count.
You're international waters. Yeah,
exactly.
You can't what's the word I'm looking for?
You can't sin.
You can't sin out in international waters. You can gamble, all that good stuff.
And I did all the things. Just kidding. I didn't really drink, but I did get the drink card so I could get the virgin pina coladas, all that kind of stuff. And I got my fill. I'll tell you about that. But I was told the last day that even with the drink card, you can get the shakes at Johnny Rockets without having to pay. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard that and I was like, I missed out. The whole time I could have went and got these milkshakes.
Yeah, we did that same cruise for work, but the problem is like we were always in meetings. Like we'd go have breakfast, and then we were meetings and all day until like 5 o'clock, and then we were supposed to have like a company dinner. We're supposed to eat together in the dinner lounge thingamajig tables, and so I think the very last night we're like, let's just go into Johnny Rockets. It's only like $5, but we were already like full to begin with. But they basically it's $5 to get in, and you can eat whatever the heck you want. So you can
For
order.
real?
Yeah. Well, this was probably good 8 years ago at least. So I don't know if that's still, maybe it's $10 now, but
Probably.
pretty cool,
Yeah.
I think they do that so people just don't like, so number one, it would probably always be packed. And two, that people don't really necessarily waste the food as much.
I don't think they care about wasting of the food on the trip.
That's true.
On the cruise.
Right.
I do want to hit a couple points about my thoughts on the cruise.
right.
First, I want to tell you, we were talking a little bit about, so we were in Florida for like a day. We got there super late on Friday night or Saturday night, and then we were going to be there all day Saturday or all day Sunday, and then go on the cruise Monday morning. And so I really wanted to go check out the Everglades. I was going to go to Miami, but we just didn't have the time for it, and it was
Right.
going to be way too expensive with a lift. So we went and we did a little boat, one of those boats you see,
Platoon,
something like that.
the fan boats.
It was a little different than a fan boat. It was covered, and it had some glass on the front of it, kind of a windshield. So it was a little different, but it was kind of the same concept, right? I think they have to throw food out the back of that thing because we saw so many alligators. Like this dude got so many of them to come out. Those things are scary, man. It's unnerving when you see one coming up next to the boat. I would not want to be caught in the water with one. But we ate some gator, tried that for the first time, and that was the only time I ever had to do that. We also had really good Cuban food. Florida is known for having a large Cuban population, and the food was very good. But I mean, the main point of us going there wasn't to check out Florida. It's just kind of a cool extra. But the cruise was the main thing. That was the whole point of the trip. We woke up on Monday morning and got news. Don't know if I told you this or not, but we got word that there was a tropical storm
Right.
where we're heading.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
I did tell you about this?
No, like I watch the Weather Channel in the morning sometimes. And yeah, I just remember when you left, I saw the tropical storm coming and that's all they were reporting on. I'm like, ooh, I hope I don't know.
Yeah, so
Continue. I was
it
like,
was in
either
the
like you might get
Bahamas where we were
Mhm.
supposed to be heading. So we did not make it to the Bahamas.
Oh,
But we did go.
Cayman Island, is that the one you usually go to?
It was supposed to be Nassau and
Hmm.
Coco Cay, I think.
Okay.
But we instead we looked and on the app it said your next port was Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic.
Oh, cool.
So we got to go there instead, which I was actually really excited about because I interacted with tons of Dominicans on my mission. I loved the food and the culture, so I was really wanted to go there someday. So I was glad that that's where we made the stop instead. The only downside to that is we only had 1 day off the boat when we would have had two going the original plan. So
Yeah.
that was kind of lame part about it, but I was still happy with what we got to do. But anyway, so we get on the boat. That's a whole thing. The whole getting on the boat was probably worse than the airports because it just
Yes.
takes so long.
Yeah.
You're just in line for forever to just get into another line, and then you have to wait until you can go into your rooms. It was just a long
And
day
then you have
until
to
we could
do
finally.
the emergency preparedness meeting, whatever, the muster stations.
Right.
That's the worst part. The cruise.
Well, it wasn't bad for that bad. We just went up and they just said, "Hey, just this is where you come." Basically, it was pretty easy, pretty
Okay.
quick. But yeah, and we got to go eat some food at the all you can eat whatever.
The buffet, or did you go to the
Yeah,
dining room?
it was a buffet for the when you first got on the ship. But I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna credit you because you were the one that told me this originally. The food on the ship, it's it's okay. It's a lot of it's stuff that they can easily make a lot of, and they make a lot of food, more than they need, but it's enough so everybody can have what they want, and it's okay quality. I don't remember exactly how you said it, but
Well, it's like 24-hour Golden Corral, right? Like it's edible and it's nice to have a little bit of variety. Like an okay buffet. Did you guys ever go to the dining room then?
so we went only to the buffet one time. I went a couple mornings to just get the food and bring it back to the room, but every night we would go to the dining room. We had a set dining time.
Okay.
And so that was cool. I mean, you get your waiter, and we just kept having the same waiter,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd always bring us way more than we asked for. I don't know if that's customary for a cruise, but he'd recommend stuff, and if we didn't get the stuff he'd recommend, he'd bring it anyway. But then, you've got tons of food. You can order as much as you want. It's
Yeah.
not going to cost you extra. You can try a little bit of everything. I tried a bunch of things I normally wouldn't. I had crab cakes, and I usually don't have any kind of seafood. I had escargot, which you told me to try.
Yeah.
I gave it a shot.
Just drenched in garlic, right?
Yeah, I stomached it. Not
Yeah.
going to do it again, but I did it. What else did I have? I had
What
a
every
bunch of
night do they have
desserts.
like this bet you never tried like item or
No, not quite. I think they had escargot every single night.
yeah, I
We
think
just
that
got it
one.
the one time just to try it. And but I mean, it was cool that you're not having to pay extra for whatever you get, so you can get a couple different things and try them.
Right.
And so I did like that. But and they were really good with my kids. They brought my daughter a plate of cookies every night, and her mac and cheese, or chicken fingers, or pizza, stuff that they had for kids. And they got familiar with my drink preferences. I asked for a peach something peach one night, and they brought me 4 or 5 different peach margarita things or peach coladas, and I drank them all, and it ruined most of my trip because then I was sick the whole time.
So much sugar.
I honestly I don't know how people could drink because you can just drink and drink on these ships and just nonstop back to the bathroom, you know. But yeah, the food wasn't that bad. They had a pizza place, which was probably one of my favorite
Like the 24-hour
options.
one.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's over by the pool, right? The pool area.
Ours was in this kind of middle section they had, kind of
Okay.
like just the middle
Trying to
kind of
remember
part of the
that
ship.
ship. That might have been the Jamaica one.
But it was nice to just be able to know you could get pizza if that's what you wanted. And
Yeah,
that's what we did for lunch quite a bit.
that's kind of the fun thing about a cruise ship is just like most of the pizza places are open like 24/7.
Right.
That's the one thing that's always open. And you can, yeah, it's kind of like I'd say most pizzas on the ships I've had, the pizza's like a grade above like 7-Eleven pizza and below Little Caesars. It's like somewhere in between. So
Yeah.
it's not like horrible, but it's not like amazing. But it's just
It's a
nice
nice
that,
change.
yeah, it's just something, it's a good snack when you're just like
Oh yeah.
hanging out, talking or whatever.
I was worried that, it's just gonna be you pay for the cruise and everything, you get the food for free, but then everything else you just have to buy. Like you want snacks and stuff, you have to buy them. But they have stuff still in like little cafes that you can go get just complimentary snacks or whatever. They switch it up. At the end, I was pretty done with the cruise food, I must say. But yeah, the drinks were awesome. I drank way too much of the, again, virgin drinks. I lost $48 playing the casinos. I did go gamble for my very first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What did you play?
I just played some of the slot machine type things. And yeah, lost all my money. Didn't do very well. And think I'm cured. When you see how quickly it can go. I did the flow rider for my first time.
Oh, really? They had one. I don't think they
Yeah,
had it on the ship when I was there last.
and that was pretty fun. Did a couple of the slides that they had. So yeah, it was fun. I mean, the highlight was definitely us going to the DR. I thought it was so cool. We bought an excursion. So we originally planned some excursions in our 2 other stops. They just refunded them and said, "Okay, now here's the new ones you can do on the."
Just rebook them.
So we did a cultural tour, which was pretty cool. We got off the boat, and they had like the people with the signs, and we just followed him. Got in a bus. They took us to a house of rum, which again, if you want to drink, cruise is the place to go, man.
Oh,
They have so many
absolutely.
so
Yeah.
many opportunities.
Yeah.
Like even this whole rum thing, like you're trying this authentic Dominican rum in like this house of rum, and they gave people probably 6 or 7 different shots of rum. And then from there, we went and saw. It took us to a museum. We saw this original colonial fort that they had. We went to these different streets, and we saw a cathedral. We were running out of formula on the trip, so we went to a little Dominican store and bought some Dominican formula. It was just like normal formula, but it was in Spanish.
Oh, so is your boy speaking Spanish now?
Yeah, yeah. But then at the very end, they gave us a lunch too, an authentic Dominican lunch, and it was so good. The food, I mean, maybe it was a little more elevated because I was getting sick of the cruise food, but that food they gave us was just so good, and that made the whole thing worth it to me. My final word on the cruise, I definitely would do it again. I think it's fun. I would like to go on one where I get off the ship a little bit more because I got a little,
Cabin fever.
yeah, kind of cabin fever, I guess. I wouldn't say I was ever bored on the ship. It just would be nice to have more opportunities to get out and see different places and get off the ship, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My daughter loved it. She loved all the swimming she got to do.
Yeah, cruises are fun. We do a company training retreat every year. And I've been at my company for 10 years now. And at least 6 of the 10 years we've gone on a cruise because it's cheap, considering what you get. You get the room, you get the food, you get the meeting room, stuff like that. So for a company to do it, it's pretty cheap. But you're right. Most of our offices, a lot of people in our company outside of Utah drink. So cruises, they just every night were white. I think one of the cruises, the last ones we went on, the meeting place at night, they kind of hang out, was a bar, because that's where everyone wanted to do was just drink. And it turned out that was the gay bar of the ship, and we didn't know it till the very last night. But yeah, they're fun. And then I took my wife on a cruise, like a cheap one, and that was a lot of fun too. And my secret, actually was talking to somebody today, because I was saying how hard it is for me to sleep past like 8 o'clock, even if I go to bed like really like 2 or 3 in the morning. But my secret for a cruise ship, if you're trying to be the lazy route, is to get an interior room. Did you guys have an interior room?
We did.
Yeah, you have an interior room with no windows. I mean, it sucks that you can't see like a nice view or something like that, but you shut your door and turn out the lights. You don't know what time it is unless you look at a clock.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So awesome. So the cool thing, like my wife and I, when we did our trip, is like you could go back to your room like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and take a nap, and you just sleep for like ever because you don't know what time it is. So that's pretty awesome. It was just fun to be like lazy, eat a lot of food, be lazy, and then especially the days where you're at sea where there's nothing to do, like you're talking about. But then, yeah, I think ours, we went to Ensenada. So we got off the boat Catalina Island, we went to the effing Catalina wine mixer. Then we went to Ensenada, and then like one day at sea. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was really cheap. And usually for like a vacation, outside of the plane tickets, it's a pretty cheap thing if you don't drink.
Right.
I think a lot of the ships plan on people drinking. That's where they get a lot of their revenue from, that and people spending $48 gambling in the casinos.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of our cruise was thanks to my in-laws, give them a shout out. And I was talking to my father-in-law saying, I wonder if people like us are the people they don't want on a cruise.
Right.
Because it's not like we're going to be in the casino all day. I mean, I went for just a little bit and didn't spend a lot of money. But we're also not getting the fancy champagnes and the bottles that they have listed. I got the drink card, and that was close to $100 for the full trip. But outside of that, are they making a lot of money on people like us? Not compared to other people.
Oh, yeah.
That really party,
Yeah. Like one guy from our California office, like he will, remember the first cruise we went on, he was just like, we're sitting in the hot tub and he's just like buying rounds for everybody. Like, what do you want, Nate? I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Get me a Sprite. I think that's when I was drinking soda. But yeah, they just spend a ton of money. I think his bill for the week was close to like $1,500 for alcohol.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
So yeah, they definitely plan on all those little small nickel and dime items to make their money.
But yeah, I think now's as good a time to announce the official This Is a Place cruise. We're actually only cruising on the Great Salt Lake, so it's gonna be a pretty short one.
And it's not really a ship; it's more like a raft.
Yeah, more a raft. Yeah. So watch for the details that come soon. Next year we'll be on Utah Lake though, so that'll be.
Ooh.
We're working on setting that one up too.
Yeah.
Make it to this one.
Well, that's the walk to Utah Lake. We're just gonna walk across it. It's so shallow.
That's about where you're at with Salt Lake too, because there's
getting
hardly
there.
any lake left.
I don't think I've ever touched the water of Salt Lake.
You're not missing out. I'll tell you that.
That's interesting. A lot of stuff I haven't done.
So, I mean, we did do a Christmas episode last week, but I think after this, we're going full Christmas, full holiday. We were supposed to write a Thanksgiving song this year. Don't know if you remember that.
I know. I was thinking about that the other day. I couldn't
That
think
did
of
not
anything.
happen. But hey, you know what? There's always next year.
We'll start writing for next year.
Well, we hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving and
Eat lots of turkey. Have fun watching some football.
and thanks for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.